Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, brothers and sisters. Welcome to our Sunday service for today, Sunday, the 25th of April, 2021. Bienvenue tout le monde, bienvenue famille. Aujourd'hui, le 25 avril 2021, bienvenue à notre service du dimanche. Alors, ce matin, c'est Chris Garand. This morning, our speaker is Chris Garand, and we will begin with one of his favorite songs, which is by James Taylor, You've Got a Friend.
When you're down and troubled and you need a helping hand, and nothing is going right. Close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running. Oh yeah, babe, to see you again. Winter, spring, summer or fall, now all you got to do is call, and I'll be there, yeah, yeah, yeah. You've got a friend. If the sky above you should turn dark and full of clouds, and that old north wind should begin to blow, keep your head together and call my name out loud now. Soon I'll be knocking upon your door. You just call up my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running. Oh yes, I will see you again. Winter, spring, summer or fall, yeah. All you got to do is call, and I'll be there, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, ain't it good to know that you've got a friend? When people can be so cold, they'll hurt you and desert you. Well, they'll take your soul if you let them. Oh yeah, but don't you let them. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Oh babe, don't you know about winter, spring, summer or fall? Hey, now all you've got to do is call. Lord, I'll be there, yes I will. You've got a friend. You've got a friend, yeah. Ain't it good to know you've got a friend? Ain't it good to know you've got a friend? got a friend.
Well, thank you for that. Chosen by Chris himself. And I don't know why these young people like these songs from the 60s and 70s, but I'm not going to ask any further because I like them. And if I like them, then Chris likes them, then it means everybody likes them. Let's begin with prayer. I will ask Frankie. Frankie, can you unmute yourself? And maybe even if Danton cries, you can still pray. Thank you.
Okay. Please join me in prayer. Just join prayer. Dear Heavenly Mom, Dad, parents of heaven and humankind, thank you so much for this wonderful day. I pray, Heavenly Mom, Dad, that as you come together with us and be with our speaker, Chris, I really pray that your message and your heart can be felt today by all of us here. Thank you so much. In our names, Francois and Motokarakwa, as the Best Central Lakwa family, as owners of Chanelguk, Aju.
Aju, and thank you. And let's move to our announcements. We will have our Famicom meeting tonight. We missed it last night because, as you know, we got really busy and there was a blessing. And so tonight at 7 o'clock, we will have our meeting, our Famicom meeting, which we usually have every 2 weeks. Next week's impossible because next week will be the Rally of Hope on May 8th in the evening, which means May 9th in Korea, which is Mother's Day. So the Rally of Hope next week will be tremendous, and I encourage you to watch it. Secondly, yesterday, hier, il y a eu une conférence francophone. Félicitations. Great start. Alors, Titine and Isabel and all our francophone members, Catherine Fortin, Marc Lorraine, Marc Hébert spoke. So it was a fantastic program, and I hope they have a recording because some other people may want to see it. And I know Mark now has a future task to be a speaker and a lecturer. And by the way, did you hear about the blessing? We had two beautiful couples from the Montreal area who were blessed. The first one is this couple here, Koichi Mashiotra and Kim Sum Barber from New York. So congratulations to the new couple. And in spite of all COVID restrictions and whatnot, they were blessed virtually. This is one of the few spots in the world where we could not gather as they did in other parts of the world, like New York and so forth. And another couple was Juanil Parfait and Cesarina Poda from Angola. So there you have Juanil at home with a picture. We got the flags from the church over to his home, as you will see. And his mother made a banner, and his sisters and brother were all happy, gathered at their home. And this is a photo of Cesarina in Luanda, Angola, at the same time, probably at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning over there. So congratulations to them. Wonderful. Let's give them a big hand. And may they have a long life and love forever and ever and ever. And tomorrow night, we have the anniversary of our two parents' 61st anniversary. This is the famous 316 anniversary, as you know. So there will be a live broadcast. Some of you have been called to be on the two-way stream, and some of you can watch live. It starts tomorrow evening. I know you're not going anywhere because of the lockdown, especially here in Quebec and in Ontario. So please check your email. You'll get all the instructions soon. There will be an international leadership conference from April 28th at 10 a.m. until the 30th of April. There will be 9 different sessions with heads of state and government, with parliamentarians, with religious leaders, with media leaders, with business leaders, and with artists and entertainers and academics, of course. And, several of us are quite involved with that, and we have some very prominent Canadians speaking. One is current banker that Pierre contacted, academic from Canada and from all around the Americas. We have the former Prime Minister, Kim Campbell, who will speak on the women's session, and former Prime Minister Stephen Harper will speak in the session with heads of state and government. So I encourage you to watch. It'll be very interesting. There's a cornerstone workshop, May 8th, 15th, and 22nd. This is especially for parents, organized by the Blessed Family Department of Canada. You can check out this YouTube, which I'll put in the chat, and you can learn about it, okay? And you received an email with the information. Of course, as usual, I encourage you to participate in the morning devotion, in the fellowship meetings on Tuesday, the TribeNet, the Holy Community Training on Wednesdays, and we will continue with the Sunday service from the United States at 11 a.m. after the service today. Thank you. Check your emails, and we will accept and appreciate your donations virtually. You can also check our website now, unificationcanada.org. It's highly improved by Nathan Bello, who's been working on that. And you can get all kinds of information and also tools to help you with your mission. Thank you. And welcome to everyone. Welcome again. So let us continue with our second song, the one prior to the sermon. And that song was also chosen by Chris. And this is Sailing with Our Father by Apple Heaven USA.
Traveling gets long, wishing for a new day to come. When the sun rises in the morning, we'll set sail and move on, and we'll be sailing with our Father. You know this ship will never sway. Whoa, on the horizon.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And I know some have been having trouble getting on Zoom this morning, some technical issues. Even our speaker had trouble getting on, I believe. And I'm getting messages as we speak. I'm very sorry. I don't know what happened, but it's the same Zoom link as usual. So if you can't, I see some people on YouTube. So I'll try to send it again for those of you that are on YouTube and want to get onto Zoom and see if that'll fix the situation. Okay. If you ever have trouble, go back to last week's and you'll be able to get on. Don't know what happened. Thank you. So please join me in welcoming Christopher Garand, who will speak this morning. Welcome, Chris.
Perfect. Amazing. Everyone hears me okay? Yeah. Okay, cool. I see a whole bunch of thumbs up over there. So thanks for that nice little introduction. I appreciate that. It's always nice. We have like a good amount of people here, honestly, this morning. That's pretty nice. Always cool to see people rocking out and seeing people moving with the music. That's kind of inspiring. I guess for myself, I'm like a little shy. But I like that how Serge and Pierre were just kind of like going all out. Yuko and Gina as well were kind of bobbing along and really enjoying some of that music there. Yeah, I was looking for some music the other day and I was just going through Spotify and then I found Sailing with Our Father on Spotify. I didn't know that that song was going to be on Spotify. So I was like, oh, let's throw that in because I remember myself, singing that back in the day with Paula, myself, or Dave. I really, really, really enjoyed that song. I felt like it was really fun just throwing in some different harmonies in there. So that honestly brought back some nice memories. So anyways, good morning to everyone, for sure. Yeah, nice to be here on Zoom. My topic today, what I'd like to share with you all about is my title's called Prioritizing Others. So I think you'll know what I mean when I jump into things here. So first off, I know it might be a little bit difficult here to have a kind of like interaction as I could normally have if things were live and everyone's here. I could just ask direct questions. People could raise their hands, but I want to try this. So if you would like to participate, all I'm going to need, I'm not going to need anyone's audio, but you can all I need is like, if you want to like raise your hand and just say like, yes, like if I ask a question, then you can be like, yes, you don't have to say it. But so if you want to throw on your video, feel free. If you're in your pajamas, it's really okay. I don't mind. Pajamas is fine. If you're not in your Sunday best, feel free. Just a couple questions. And then I'm going to have you raise your hand if it applies to you or not. Just a little social experiment, just kind of seeing if the certain topic is affecting any of you. Perfect. So yeah, anyways, feel free to throw in your video. No stress at all as well. It's fine. All right. So this past week, I was scrolling through my Instagram feed as I usually do. And I came onto a blog actually about social media. And it's interesting. It was a sponsored blog by like an insurance company. And it's funny how like insurance companies and all sorts of companies, they have these sponsored, they're creating like blogs. Like who would have known that Manulife or Sun Life, they have like blogs about well-being or whatnot. But anyways, there's this ad that was advertised and it was their blog and they were talking about social media and the effects that social media is having, especially on like our youth today. People spending a lot of time on their devices, a lot of time on your phone, on your computer. People have really been glued to their devices more than usual, I'd say. Now that we've all been affected by COVID and everyone is at home, maybe things are a little bit less social. People are at home on their phones, their devices, playing games or whatnot. I'm not too sure about, for the older generation, for my parents. I'm pretty sure that it's affecting you all as well. But I had a couple questions for everyone, and I want to know your perspective and how social media is affecting all of you. So here are a few questions. You can take a mental note which ones you said yes to. So if you'd like to just raise your hand if this question applies to you, if you can say yes to this question. So the first one is, the first thing you do in the morning is, do you check your phone? So if this applies to you, you can raise your hand. For me, it's an absolute yes. So in the morning, is the first thing that you do you check your phone? Do you check your phone in the morning for emails, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok? For myself, I know I have my phone right next to my bed, and my alarm instantly goes off right in the morning. First thing I do, I pick up my phone, I turn off the alarm, and I'm like, okay, I'm awake now. And what do I start doing? I go through my emails, I open up my Facebook, I go through Instagram, TikTok. I might look at a YouTube video or catch up on the day's news. So if that applies to you, raise your hand once again. Let me see. Raise your hand. Don't be shy. It's normal. Okay. So actually, yeah, not too many. I don't know how many people that are watching on YouTube or that have their cameras off this applies, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's more than half. Okay, for the second question, when you sit down to eat, do you usually bring your plate of food perhaps in front of your computer, or do you have your phone there? Do you eat, and are you on your phone at the same time? If this applies to you, raise your hand. So that's funny. Oh, a couple hands there. So it's interesting because for myself, honestly, I usually see, when people are in the food court and or they're at work or that they're at home, they'll take their meal, they'll go to their room, they'll sit in front of their computer, they'll open up their phone. But I think perhaps, generation wise, it's a little bit different. Perhaps as you all didn't grow up with a smartphone, it's not completely ingrained into your habits. So it's looking good for everyone here. And for number 3, when you're waiting in line for something, do you pull out your phone? So when you're waiting in line, do you pull out your phone and scroll through your Instagram or Facebook, or are you just on your phone while you're waiting for me, it's a definite yes. So for that one, a lot more people really take out their phone when they're just waiting around for a little bit of this or that. So that's interesting. Fourth question. So when you go over to someone's home, do you ask immediately for their Wi-Fi password? So for me, it's usually yes. I mean, I'd say for myself now, I have a lot of data on my phone, so I don't necessarily need Wi-Fi. But I definitely know for younger generations, like when I was working in restaurants, the first thing that young people would do when they sat down, I'm just approaching their table. I haven't even given them the menu yet. I'm just smiling at them, and then they're like, "Hey, do you guys have a Wi-Fi password?" Like first thing that they're gonna ask me for is immediately, "Do you have a Wi-Fi password? Do you guys have a Wi-Fi account?" Or when you're going to a hotel, first thing you do, you call the front desk and you ask, "Oh, what's the Wi-Fi password for the room?" When you're traveling. So when you're out and about, do you hunt for the Wi-Fi connection when you're at a new spot? So for me, that's a yes, for sure. How about for all of you? Do you hunt for the Wi-Fi password? Here and there. Okay, I got a couple hands. It's interesting. So the fifth question, if you forgot your phone at home when out for the day, would you consider yourself, would that be a catastrophe for you to have forgotten your phone at home? So for me, I'm not sure if I'd say it would be a catastrophe, but it's interesting because I feel like perhaps for some of you, it's less about social media or staying in contact with friends, scrolling through Instagram, checking TikTok. It's more about just being able to reach people because you all have jobs, you know, you need to be reached for work or for this or that. So I'm sure it's a little bit of a different dynamic with our a bit older generation and then like younger generation. I find even for myself, some of these questions, I wouldn't say I 100% answer yes to all of them, but I know for like I grew up at the time when I was young, there was still high-speed internet, right? So internet and social media, it was still kind of at the beginning. So I didn't grow up with Instagram and Facebook already being huge. Whereas I know for our the younger generation of kids, like social media and phones, like I've seen like when my aunt comes over and she has like a whole bunch of young kids. She lives in Arizona. All of the kids, they know how to use like the iPad and iPhones like at the age of like 5 or 6 really well. I'd argue almost better than me. They're so quick with typing and looking through games and opening things up that it's really impressive. They're already being conditioned to use social media and devices really, really well. And of course, this could be argued that there's a lot of benefit to being brought up and to know how to use technology straight from a young age. But I think there is a potential as well that you might become addicted to social media and our devices. So if you answered yes to all of these questions, all 5 of the questions, I'll just go through them again. First thing that you do in the morning is check your phone. Second, when you sit down to eat, are you on your device? 3, when you're waiting in line for something, do you go on your phone? 4, when you go to someone's home, you quickly ask to become connected because you always want to stay connected. That's pretty much what the 4th question is. And 5, if you forgot your phone at home, do you have a sense of anxiety? Is your day ruined? Are you worried about how your day is going to go? So if you answered yes to all those questions, you very well could be addicted to social media. And that's really interesting, right? If you answered yes to all those questions, for me, I would say it's pretty much a yes to all those questions, but for sure to varying degrees. It's hard to admit that for myself, oh yeah, perhaps I am addicted. It's hard to say that, especially in front of a whole bunch of people, right? I'm addicted to social media. So I'm not sure how strong my addiction is, but it's interesting. You know, so I know for myself, when I wake up in the morning, I grab my phone, check the news. I roll out into like a mold.
Christopher frozen?
Yes, Christopher is.
For you.
Oh, he's coming back.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I cutting off for a little bit there?
You were frozen for a while.
Okay. So like I said, it's affecting our youth more and more today. So you're not alone if you have trouble. So I think it's interesting, at least for myself, to think about all the extra time that becomes available in your life after you clear out time from all the social media use. So for myself, you know, I spend a lot of time, you know, maybe for you, it's TV shows or movies or spending time on your computer. Maybe it's checking up on, you know, all of our church's activities. Maybe you're addicted to looking at all of our church's activities, always staying up to date on things. So maybe that is your particular social media. For me, maybe it's YouTube or TikTok. For you, maybe it's something completely different. So maybe that you could argue that, you know, media addiction isn't too bad. I'm connecting with friends and friends are important, right? But I'd go on to ask, how is all that time you're spending on your phone or computer really affecting your relationships? And because I think that now, especially during COVID, with everyone being at home, a little bit isolated, we're not going out to the parks, we're not meeting up with friends, we're not having people over, we're not like all meeting live in a congregation, right, for service and all that. So there's definitely a face-to-face, a person-to-person social aspect that is definitely not as present as it was before. So I find we're often more likely to turn towards our devices when we're at home than the people around us. So I find that oftentimes living with Koichi, Charles, and Leo, we are primarily on our own devices. So sometimes it's not always the case, but I'm finding that for myself, my cell phone, my computer can really disconnect me from the people that are just around me. I don't spend as much time as I could with them as I'm, perhaps prioritizing my cell phone or my computer over my social interactions with real people that are around me. Sometimes we can all be in the same room. I'm sure you've seen this in movies, but in real life as well, sometimes you can all be in the same room as someone and everyone's on their phone. No one's really talking to each other. Everyone's kind of enjoying themselves and just kind of doing their own thing, but everyone is on their phone. So I'm not sure if you struggle with that, but I'm sure if you were to look at your children, I'm sure you've seen that many times over. Everyone's in the same space, but everyone's just on their devices doing their own thing. And I find it interesting and both scary. If you've never seen The Social Dilemma on Netflix, it's actually a really interesting movie documentary that talks about, well, first off, how social media companies are just purely mining all of your data and then selling it to huge companies, but also the effects that social media have in slowly but surely trying to get you addicted to their services. If you notice, every time that you log on to Facebook, you always have notifications, and sometimes you open it up and you realize, like, what are these notifications anyways? It's like the most random things they're notifying you of, but they're trying to always get you to check something. Something always is grabbing your attention. So there's experts, there's psychologists, there's, behavioral people with PhDs all working to really grab your attention, to make sure that they have 110% of your attention so that they can sell you ads, right? So it's not like it's just our problem. For sure, it's important to take responsibility for things that we might be struggling with, 100%. There's discipline that comes in, and, there's good amounts and bad amounts probably of social media usage. But just to say that it's normal that we're so addicted to our devices, because all of these many companies are spending absurd amounts of money researching how to get people more hooked to their devices. They've created Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, TikTok. All of these huge companies have created them to work the same way that slot machines work at a casino. I just want to make sure my connection is stable. My connection, you guys are all hearing me okay? Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. So it's interesting, right? Like, these apps, they're literally trying to get us addicted. When you check something, maybe there's a new sound, there's a new notification, and it's similar to how it works at a casino. If you've ever been to a casino, it's lights, it's trying to grab your attention. There's all sorts of noises. I've been to Las Vegas, and I'm sure many of you have been to Las Vegas as well, but it's pretty incredible. And your phone is somehow doing the same thing to you. So our time spent on, meditation, prayer, spiritual readings, relationships all take the back seat when we're constantly on our devices. And I know that for today's youth, that's a big issue, because social media and time spent on our devices is taking so much time. Perhaps they're not thinking that, my spiritual life, or, reading something wholesome, or getting outside, going outside, spending time with people, all of those activities are really taking a back seat to our devices these days. They become so time consuming that we don't have time really for any of these other really important activities. And I think people around the world as well are beginning to know this, Like, it's really interesting. When I go onto my TikTok app, there are people just making posts with relaxing music, and they're talking to you in a soothing voice, and they're walking through the woods. That's all they're doing, and I mean, to be fair, I follow a lot of these people, but it's interesting, right? We go on our phones to look at posts that are about people spending time outside. It seems so bizarre that we're on these apps and we're like, wow, it looks so beautiful outside. But I'll keep scrolling through my phone to just look at the next post that's been created. So I'm following all of these nature people, whereas, how much time am I actually spending outside going for a walk? So it's interesting because these kinds of creators are getting really, really popular. And I think it's because people all around the world love nature. They love being outside. They love going on these little adventures. So these creators are literally creating content that gives you that while you're sitting down just on your phone. You don't even have to get up and go outside. All you have to do is just be on your phone. So it's interesting. So reading online, I was trying to discover, all right, so what makes people, the most happy? What's the first or the second thing that comes up when it comes to the happiest people in the world? Like what do they have in common? And first off, I was reading that, and I'm sure this doesn't come as a surprise to most people, but they devote
Looks like Chris has an unstable connection, so just wait a few minutes. Hopefully he'll come
time with their
back.
friends and family, but they're actively nurturing those going on in their life. So I think I might have lost the connection there. Does everyone hear me okay?
Now okay, now okay. It's up and down.
Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry for the connection there. So
We lost about a minute there.
a minute? Okay, sure. So okay, I'll just start back from here. So reading online, everyone hears me okay? Thumbs up? Yeah. So reading online, what the happiest people in the world have in common. Sorry if I'm saying this over again, but reading online, what they have to say is they devote a great amount of time to their family and friends, nurturing and enjoying those relationships. So not only they're spending time with each other, they're not sitting around a table on their phones. That's not nurturing relationships, right? So what nurturing really is spending that quality time, going on walks with the people that you care about, spending time outside, maybe cooking together, watching a movie together. That's not a terrible idea either, right? Going on these little adventures with each other and really asking them how they're doing, how they're feeling, nurturing those close bonds that we have. And the second most important thing they said for the happiest people around, they said they're comfortable expressing gratitude for all that they have. So it's a mix of spending time with people, nurturing those relationships, and expressing what you're grateful for. So those things is what we should really be focusing on, replacing all this time that we're spending on our devices with. So instead of spending so much time on our devices, we have to be trying to figure out creative ways to lessen our time on our devices and spend more time with people, and to learn how to express how we're grateful for things, which is, I think for sure, it's something similar that, we can do in a community as well. If you're part of a community, you're around people, you're nurturing, you're asking them thoughtful questions on, what they think about anywhere from the purpose of life to how their week went, really engaging questions that nurture your relationships. So what can you learn from these people? we can learn that you're not going to find wholesome, enriching joys of life on your devices. You're going to find it spending time with those around you and expressing really what you're grateful for. So I'm not sure if you've ever experienced it, but have you ever gotten on a long session on your phone or your computer, and you've just taken a moment and then you look around at your environment and you're like, whoa, it's like the real world. You know, if you've been on your phone for so long or on your computer, you've just been so focused perhaps on work or whatnot, but taking that moment to get off of your device, you know, maybe to just go out on your porch, your backyard, or go for a little walk, you realize like, wow, there's a real world out here almost. It almost feels like we're in some sort of simulation. If you've been on your phone or your device for so long, it almost feels like you haven't been in the real world when you've been on your device for so long. So it's important to learn how to break up our days in different ways. So potentially if you wake up in the morning and go straight to your phone, you can try exchanging perhaps your phone for an old-fashioned alarm clock. So the first thing that you're grabbing in the morning isn't your phone. And I know that a lot of people here didn't raise their hands for that, so perhaps that's not an issue for you. But I know that for most young people today, their alarm clock is their phone. And once you open up your phone to turn off your alarm, the next thing you're doing is you're jumping onto social media, you're checking emails, you're checking the news, and potentially, I know for myself, sometimes it can spiral out of control and you're on there for like an hour. Sometimes I've had some bad days where I'm just like, you know, a lazy Saturday where you're just watching videos on your phone, you're just hanging out. So it's important to try to find creative ways to replace the way we use our devices, and so that they're not so readily accessible. So a simple change like that can actually have a huge effect, changing the way you wake up in the morning. Instead of reaching for your phone, you just have a normal alarm clock, you get up, maybe you go out in your pajamas, you take a walk around the block, you make a cup of coffee, you know, you do real world things. And then that will help you to cut off the time you're spending on your devices, you know? So it's simple changes like this where we're prioritizing real life over our devices, social media, and our devices. So I just felt like this was important to talk about because during COVID, everyone's being very isolated at home. People aren't spending as much time with each other as normal. So I feel like a lot of people could be struggling with this issue of feeling isolated and spending a lot of time on social media, on devices, on videos, because although it's entertaining and although you can throw loads and loads of time into these activities, at the end of the day, when you're coming out of them, when you finish them, you don't feel fulfilled as you would be if you had spent a day with, you know, a close friend or those people that are most dear to you. So I think it's really important to really acknowledge that this is an issue, and how can you change your habits from being on your device and on your computer all the time, and move that more towards prioritizing people, our social interactions, and important habits such as prayer or meditation, reflection, you know? And if you find that after reducing the amount of time on your devices, on your phones, computers, and all that, if you're feeling bored, it's a completely normal and natural thing to be feeling. Because what boredom gives you is sometimes it realizes like, oh, what's my direction? And it's a moment of reflection. What is your actual direction? What are the goals that are actually important for you? So boredom and not being on devices, it shouldn't be something that gives you anxiety. Although for sure I can understand sometimes if it can, you always want something to do. But having nothing to do sometime gives you time to reflect on what do you want to do next? It gives you time to reflect on your goals, on your ambitions, on things that you actually want to tackle in your life. So this week, I hope that we can all try to put away our devices and spend a little bit more time with each other, whether it's through Zoom or going for a walk together, or, you know, if someone's in your house and they've been spending the whole day on the computer, why don't you go over to them? just try to bother them. Open up their door. Ask if they'd like to go for a walk, or make a little cup of coffee with them and just have a little chat. Try to break up their day in some way, you know? Try to make it fun. Go on little adventures. So this week, I think we can all try to carve out a little bit more time for each other and take a little bit of that time from all the time we spend on social media and our devices. So thanks for listening. If you'd like to just join me in a quick prayer to finish things. So dear Heavenly Parent, thank you so much for bringing everyone here this morning to listen to the few things that I had to say. And I hope that everyone could connect with a little something. And hopefully we can take this and have a more productive and wholesome week with each other. So I pray this gratefully in our names. My name, Christopher, son of Rita, and Daniel Garand. Bless your family. Aju. Perfect.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you.
Very much appreciate this morning. You're touching this topic. It's very important. And had Chris over unusually just a few days ago, and I invited him to help in the garden because there's still some land to dig out. And so if you want to find another pastime that can take you away from your devices, you can also do some gardening if you even have a small patch of land nearby. Okay. So anyways, let's go now to our final song, which is, what's it called now? It's called...
It's All Right.
It's called It's All Right. I got distracted by all these chats here. So let's keep going with It's All Right.
Say it's all right. Say it's all right. It's all right. Have a good time, 'cause it's all right. Oh, it's all right. Now listen to the beat. Kinda pat your feet. You got soul, and everybody knows that it's all right. Oh, it's all right. When you wake up early in the morning, feeling sad like so many of us do, just hum a little song, make like your goal, and surely something's gotta come to you. Say it's all right. Say it's all right. It's all right. Have a good time, 'cause it's all right. Oh, it's all right. Now everybody clap your hands. Give yourself a chance. You've got soul, and everybody knows that it's all right. Oh, it's all right. Oh, it's all right. Now everybody clap your hands. Give yourself a chance, 'cause you've got soul.